Welcome to Techstination. We're speaking with Professor Chris Cherry, the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Tennessee. Thank you for joining us, Professor Cherry.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, you've been doing some research on health and e-bikes. And to a layman, they might think, well, riding an e-bike, how can that be healthy? You're not pedaling all the time. So tell us what you've found so far.
Yeah, what we found is basically that e-bike riders still, even with a high boost on their e-bike, still get what they call moderate physical activity. This is where your heart rate goes up, moderate level, where you start to process more oxygen. And this is the kind of this is the kind of physical activity that your doctors recommend, for example, to get this kind of brisk walk type of activity. You don't get your heart rate really high. And I think that's one of the allures of e-bikes, especially for commuting, is you don't want to be all really sweaty and really messed up. So you don't get that peak vigorous physical activity as often as you would with a bicycle, yet you still get this moderate level that doctors recommend.
And I suppose one of the false assumptions might be that people are riding e-bikes instead of regular bikes, and very often that's not the case, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So e-bikes are much, much better than sitting in a car and commuting by car, and that's something that we found with a couple of different studies. Is we're looking at health impacts, but we're also looking at substituted behavior and how much actual physical activity is substituted when you ride an e-bike than when you ride a car, for example.
What are some of the other key findings that you've come up with so far in looking at these issues?
Well, we're looking at kind of a holistic approach to e-bikes as it relates to policy. All of these policy questions that come down related to safety, physical activity, environmental sustainability, these are all things that we are aiming to answer, and we try to figure out interesting research approaches to answer them. And we find that e-bikes are very clean environmentally, especially when they replace car trips. Right? When you think about the greenhouse gases and everything like that from a car-based mode. We find that they are about as safe as a bicycle, meaning that people use them a lot like bicycles. They travel about the same speeds, a little bit faster on an e-bike, but not so much faster that it really justifies a whole different class of vehicle, like a motorcycle would or a moped or something like that. So it's kind of the best of many worlds, right? E-bikes tend to give you health benefits, moderate health benefits. They do so without increasing safety burden compared to cycling, and especially compared to car use, they're much more sustainable.
But your work isn't done yet. You're still in the midst of even more research, right?
Yeah, the most important thing that we really don't have a good grasp on yet is precise levels of substitution. Do, for example, e-bike riders ride more in the rain, or do they switch back to their car? Do they use e-bikes for grocery trips and daycare trips and every trip, or do they use it just for their commute trips? It's hard to get somebody to kind of sort through all of their travel behavior on a questionnaire, so we're trying to equip bikes and get people tied into a research experiment where we can really measure what they're doing.
For more info on the research that you're doing, where do people go?
Yeah, you can look at our group website is Light Electric Vehicle Education and Research Initiative, levresearch.com. And from there you can contact me, Chris Cherry, you can find my contact there, or you can contact any of our collaborators. And you can find a whole bunch of resources, journal articles and the like from that site.
Chris Cherry, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C. Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. Listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C-Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C-Crane.